The Brainwavz B400, which I've actually already reviewed a couple of months ago, is an in-ear priced at around $120 that easily enough convinced me to give it a positive review. But alongside with the sound signature, that wasn't quite up my alley, and a few minor little things, I was just left wanting for more. And here is where, fortunately enough, one of my viewers stepped in and told me that according to how I described the B400, I should really love the B400, which costs $200. And in this review I want to let you know if they are well worth the extra 80 bucks and if he was right all along. But before that, we are gonna check what we get in each box, just to see that it's pretty much the same, because in both cases, no pun intended, the case is the same, which gives you enough storage to put everything in that you also get with them. Like for example here, this cable clip, Velcro, 6 different sizes of silicone tips and the complete tips, so either way it should definitely fit. Now if you have the newer version of the B400, you should also be able to change the cable, and you should have 2, just like you have on the B400. Now the second cable, which also comes with a mic and remote, I actually don't have anymore. I think I lost it just because I've never used it. The more subtle approach, like they used also here on the B200, is just what I think is way more comfortable. But it's replaceable, that is fine. The cable itself, though, I have to say, I don't really like it so much. I said this already on the B200, it tangles up all the time, it's never straight, and it kind of does whatever it wants to do. But it gets the job done with its 45-degree angle. Yeah, it is what it is. But let's talk about the design and the size difference that we have here compared to the B200. The B400 with a quad driver system compared to the dual speaker system of the B200 is noticeably bigger. Therefore, with the smaller chassis, the B200, at least in my case, with the complete tips, just fit a little bit more subtle and it was more comfortable. But I have to get into the B400. Obviously, that is what I'm reviewing. So let me just put them in and let me tell you what I think about them. First of all, I like the hook. It's very easy to put it on. And as you can see here, usually, if you don't do it on cam, you have no hard time getting them in. So as you can see, it still is quite subtle, but here's already what you can see. In the cable, yeah, sometimes it won't stay straight, but it's still it. Now, due to being bigger and me already using the smallest tips, now it fits. But I have very small ears, especially my weird ear canals make it harder, and I couldn't even use the complete tips since the seal broke whenever I just slightly moved my jaw. So I can't tell if the sound advantage would have been here the case as well as it was with the B200. On the B200, for hours and hours I could use them without any soreness, without any hurting of my ears. Here, after like 1 or 2 hours, they got a little bit sore once I touched them, but otherwise it was fine. I could use them for 6 or 8 hours, for example. When I took them out for 1 or 2 minutes, then it was all fine. So I would say everyone who has normal ears with normal ear canals, you could use them for hours and hours very comfortably. They won't fall out of your ears at all. The hook is nice and everything else works out absolutely fine. But there is a difference of about 80 euros. And before I'm going to talk about that, I can already tell you that they are well worth the difference. First of all, the one thing. You can easily drive them with whatever you want to. If it's just a phone, it will be enough. Sure, a headphone amp will help, it will give it some extra sound, but it's not really necessary at all, which brings me to the best part, the sound difference. Because whatever the B200 already did really well, the B400 do everything, and I really mean everything, noticeably better, starting with the soundstage. It's a little bit wider, it's still not super wide since it's a closed back in-ear, but it gets the job done. Now the imaging could have been maybe a little bit more detailed, there could have been a little bit more structure in it, but otherwise, especially for this price range, it absolutely gets the job done satisfyingly. But here's the sound signature that I have to just tell you is like this. It's a little bit more balanced than what was a little bit lacking on the B200, especially since the B200 were lacking a little bit in mids and especially clarity and brilliance in the highs. This is what you will get on the B400. The bass, I would say, is definitely better in all possible aspects, but what I would wish for, if we could improve that even further, a little bit more kick, a little bit more punch, especially in the kick bass and in the upper region where it just feels a little bit more lively, because it goes down quite well, it has enough structure, obviously, a little bit more resolution is always the thing. But the good thing about the bass was that it was there whenever it needed to be in an absolute moderate fashion without ever standing out, either being too hard or a little bit too weak. So actually good. The mids, I would say, just because the vocals are pushed just a little bit more forward compared to the B200, but not too much that you would really feel they are forward or too intimate, make a really good job. And with the biggest advantage, in my opinion, with the highs being just way clearer, way more brilliance, way more open airy, they sounded way more pleasant. For some people it could maybe be a little bit too harsh, but I actually think they are so well apart from it that I don't see this to be an issue. There wasn't really any sibilance, they sounded clear, pushing the highs, but not ever getting harsh or anything like that. And with the mids, there is a really nice balance, which makes them very pleasant. Now, that makes them a real good all-rounder, but nothing really special in any particular reason. Now, if you would want them for dubstep, you get a nice amount of bass, but especially if you want punch and if you want something very bass heavy, I would tell you that you can just use any more mainstream sounded headphone or in-ear that is just cheaper. This is already more on the audiophile side because it's very nice balance. It's actually quite neutral, quite clear. At first I thought it's a little bit elevated in some aspects, but when I use a proper headphone compare them to that, it actually balances fairly well. These are noticeably more dull, a little bit more lifeless and just not quite as detailed, precise, don't have the resolution. This is what you will get here. Like I said, the bass could be a little bit more punchy, but in terms of mids and highs, I couldn't really wish for much more. Okay, maybe a little bit more forward pushing mids just because I like that, but that's obviously personal preference. So in the end, well worth the extra $80 just because it's noticeably better. Okay, the comfort, especially with my smaller ears, wasn't quite there, but overall, yes. Now, I'm not even gonna try that because I can't get this done on cam. Are they worth the $200? Here is where I can tell you that I can't tell you because I just lack of any proper experience in this price range with in-ears. The best that I've tried before the B400 were actually the B200. I'm not gonna consider the iSign 10 that I've reviewed just because these are something completely different. But that's that. For $200, I think they make a really nice job. I was very pleased with them. I would like them even more so if I wouldn't have weird ears and I could easier have them in my ears more comfortable. But anyone who's not weird as me will like them actually quite a lot. But yeah, since I'm starting to just review in-ears, I need way more to actually be able to judge them properly. But I think 200 is absolutely well worth what you get. Obviously, there are always this kind of secret hidden little gems that people find that are noticeably cheaper that get you already way closer to what you usually get in this price segment. But I can't say anything about that, and that's why I'm gonna stop this review. If you liked it, maybe a thumbs up and leave me just some comments to let me know whatever you want to. Okay, that's it. Until next time, bye.